I'm Damian Barrett and welcome to the 2018 wash-up for the Fremantle Dockers, brought to you by Karcher. Callum Twomey, Matthew Lloyd are both with me, and Cal, Freo is a rollercoaster team. They're up one week, they're down the next. You never know what you're going to get.
Well, you don't know what you're going to get when they're at home and away. They were terrible on the road this year, much better at home. But they beat some good sides, Essendon, Adelaide, Port Adelaide, but then lost to Brisbane. So another rotten year for the Dockers.
Well, we'll start with some positives.
8 debutants, Damo, so that's the biggest positive for mine through the year. And look at some of the names. When you get the cream of the crop, Brayshaw picked 2, Chera picked 5. They lived up to all the hype. And then we'll talk about Bailey Banfield later. He was really impressive. And some of those guys down the bottom, Taylor Dumin, he does pretty well as well.
It was good to see him get a chance to actually blood them, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. It's really good.
One of my favourite players for a long time now has been Michael Walters. Didn't have a great year, though, did he, by way of what he's done in the past? But to me, had one of the highlights when he took this mark in the derby over Jeremy McGovern. We raised it here today. As much for McGovern's reaction, though, as Mark Walters' mark itself. It was a ripper, wasn't it?
He loved being on the poster, Jeremy, didn't he? He loved it almost as much as Sonny. But, yeah, he's a great player and a great grab.
How would you see Walters' year?
Average.
Yeah.
I think they need him to be better and more consistent.
Yeah.
Like the team itself, really.
Yeah, there were. And they're way through some problems now, Cal, with the lowlights, and there's a few of them. Start, please.
Now, Harley Bennell, for me, he's played 2 games in 3 years. He just hasn't come to the club and brought anything in terms of what he showed at Gold Coast. They miss him because at his best, he could add so much. He's in trouble again off the field, got in a fight, was drinking, was banished to the Waffle, trained with them. He's signed on again for next year, sort of curiously, I think, but that's his last chance to actually get there for the Dockers.
Serious talent. I just hope he makes it.
Yeah, I reckon I've had the number 1 ticket holder licence for Ross Lyon for a number of years, but I don't anymore, and I reckon he's one of the lowlights that came out of this year. He had the workplace harassment saga, which was dealt with, but just his constant toing and froing and nitpicking with journalists and media in general, to me it's morale sapping for the club as a whole, and I think it serves no purpose for him or anyone at the club. He caused or accused the journalists of having sensational headlines after he himself had said Michael Johnson would most likely finish up this year. And then late in the piece, he had this particular exchange with a journalist.
Do you look around and see it's been done in 2 years anyway? Is that a yes or a no?
Well, yeah, other teams have
done it in 2 years. 2 years.
Not the overall.
No, how long?
I don't know, a few years.
What's a few?
3 or 4.
Who's done it in 3?
I can't.
You don't know? That's okay. So what I'm saying is, so it's probably inappropriate for you to be able to answer the question too. So, but we know it's not done in 3 years. If you ask head office, they know it takes 5 to 6 years.
I don't know what the point or purpose of that conversation was, and I think someone at that footy club now needs to sit him down before next season starts and just tell him to stop carrying on that way.
Hawthorn's done a pretty good job of turning it around in a couple of years, though, haven't
they have. Yeah, not even a couple. Time to mark the Dockers out of 10 for what happened this year, guys.
Damo, they got the wins, the 8 wins, but just a 3 for mine because it's the way they lose.
Yeah, the way they lose is shocking. They just capitulate. 3 for me too.
I'm going lower than you two. I'm going to give him a 2. So I just didn't like what happened throughout the whole year, and they need to change a lot of things. Who cleaned up? Did anyone have that status this year, Lloyd?
Lachie Neale cleaned up for me, Damo. One of the most consistent midfielders in the game. I think if he wasn't with Fremantle, he'd be All-Australian this year. I hope he makes it to the squad. I think with Nathan Fyfe being out, this guy just gets the job done week after week. He and David Mundy have carried this club for a long, long time.
He's been a very good player for a long time, so consistent, and as you say, gets the job done. He's not big, he just plays above his size and wins clearances, wins the footy week in, week out, and as you say, has had to shoulder the load for a long time now too, so he's been excellent.
Does it with vibrancy and energy, doesn't he?
He does. He seems like a really good character and well liked among his group. Bailey Banfield, you mentioned him at the top of the show, Lloyd. He was a favourite for me. I just like the fact that everyone enjoys a rookie story, a rookie success story, and he was taken in the rookie draft last year, become a really good option as a mature age tagger, a run-with player, but was also able to find the footy. He started his season with a big scalp. He got Zach Merritt in round 2 against the Bombers and went from there. Was out of the side towards the end of the season, but I like what he can do. He's a bigger body and just uses the ball pretty well when he gets it.
What do you think he could develop into? What sort of player, if he was not a tag, you think?
I think he can win enough footy to be a solid enough midfielder by his own rights. Yeah.
There's a lot of people under pressure at the Dockers, none more so, I don't feel anyway, than Ross Lyon, the coach, who we've already touched on. But 2015, it's not that long ago when they finished top of the ladder after the home and away season, haven't made the finals for the past 3 years. He himself has got his own plans through, and that's fine to re-sign Bennell and Sanderlands and also Ballantyne. But the replumbing, the rewiring, the restumping, whatever it was he was carrying on about last year, it needs to show some form of fruition next year.
Were you surprised those three re-signed?
Particularly Ballantyne, I thought time would have moved on for him. Sandilands and Benell I don't mind too much. But Damian, you've mentioned Lyon twice now. What does he need to do next year, you think? Is he under pressure to hold his job next year?
If that club wasn't burdened by the long-term deal it gave him, strangely enough as it was a couple of years ago, I think it'd be a different landscape and conversation right now. I mean, he goes into 2019 regardless, but the guarantee of a future beyond that, I don't think it's there right now.
Yeah, under pressure for mine is the forward line. It has a lot to do with Ross Lyon. I think the cohesion of Nathan Buckley got it right, midfield to forward. But look at these players: Cameron McCarthy, poor year; Matera, poor year; Michael Apnis can't get his body right; Cox got to get his goal kicking right, and then Ballantyne struggled. So for mine, Taberner is the only one who's come on.
When you watch Cameron McCarthy, what does he need to do better? Because he sat out a year of footy to get to Freo and hasn't been the success story that they'd hoped.
I look at his body shape, and to me that says it all. That he just doesn't look fit enough.
Were there any lighter moments, Lordo, in 2018 for the Dockers?
There was. Well, it started first with the light show at the new stadium. I found that funny. This game here, they won. It was a great win by Fremantle, 16 points, and little Peter Bally, small enough, and then you just could not see him trying to do these interviews there with Bradley Hill. But there was one thing funnier than this, and this was poor Brandon Matera when he was trying to line up for goal, and the pigeons just kept getting in his way. So
it's hard enough.
Oh yeah, it is hard enough. And no wonder he lost his confidence, got dropped later in the year, poor old Brandon.
So many things need to now go right for the Dockers coming out of 18 into 2019, don't they? And Nat Fyfe, who I think held up pretty well this year. His body let him down again at certain stages, but he was good early, I thought, Cal. Got himself back into the team late when he felt he needed to show some leadership, but they just need to make sure that he goes into 2019 fully fit and able to get through.
Their most important player, and probably the most important player to his side in the competition. For me, what they have to do is learn to win away from home. They were appalling on the road this year. They played 9 games away from Optus Stadium, won one of them, average losing margin of 62 points, the 133-point drubbing to the Cats. They were just ordinary on the road. Yeah,
for mine, Damo, it's they're obviously scoring. They just can't score, and I just believe that if you can put some heat on them early with scoreboard pressure, they've got no way of winning. So it's Ross Lyon's game style.
And that's been a theme of his for forever, basically.
Exactly, and I think the game's come on so far that even the Brisbane Lions just pounded them because they scored early, and that's something the Dockers have got to look at.
Well, it's been a tough 2018. Will 2019 be any better with your prognostications?
12 to 14 for mine.
No, they're bottom 4 for me.
Bottom 4? Yeah, okay. I've got them up with the Lloyd zone there of 12 to 14. Thank you guys for the wash-up for the Fremantle Dockers in 2018.